WTIM. You're listening to WTIM, your information station, and our morning show brought to you by People's Bank and Trust, where they put people first. We're joined by Pana civic, business, and nonprofit leaders, and some from outside that area, including our next guest here today. Coming to you from our Taylorville studios, it's also brought to you by Pana Save-A-Lot, Pizza Man, Noren's Hardware, Bob Ridings Pana, the Nokomis Dairy Queen Pana Bowl, and the Okanee Chop Shop. I'm your host, Grayson Bauman. Joining us in this segment, Superintendent Scott Dorr of Nokomis CUSD number 22. Scott, good to have you on the show again today. How are you, sir?
Thanks, Grayson. I appreciate it. Doing good. How are you?
Doing well on this end, and I'm glad to hear that. Obviously, last month when we talked, school had started off well, and from what we gathered here today, we're starting off still and doing well. And so, knock on wood, we're going to make sure that that continues to keep up. And one of those things that we're doing really well in is fall athletics. I know you want to get some shine over to the way of those student athletes. What can you tell me about fall athletics so far?
Well, our kiddos at the high school level have seen great success this year. Football, we're 3-1. We're actually heading into an interesting week. The school we were supposed to play had canceled on us, so it's a forfeit victory for us. So it'd be 4-1. That puts us in prime striking distance to get to a first round playoff game. And so that's always great for our football kiddos who are doing an awesome job this year. But also we have to look at our high school, girls volleyball team. They're like 20-0, maybe 21-0 at this time. They're undefeated. They are tough kids to beat right now. They play great as a team. They're well coached, and they have some aspirations this year, as they were defeated in the final game of sectionals last year by a tough team. But they have some great aspirations and some great goals this year, and I think they're going to do well. They're proving to be a force to be reckoned with, having won the Grace tournament a couple weekends ago, and just playing as a team, which is always great to see.
Sure thing. And for you, whether it's 20-0, 21-0, but that's a lot of success. And then you go to the football side of things, 4-1 on the season. For you, what's that kind of mean to the school, to the atmosphere when you have fall athletics and they're doing well? What's it kind of mean on your end of things?
So, I think it says a lot about our students, about our coaches, about the community, how they all gather around the school and the activities that the school provides, and just brings a sense of belonging and community spirit together, school spirit together. It's great to see the crowd cheering on the student athletes, and them putting in the time, the effort, and having that commitment. But more importantly, learning to work as a team and building those leadership skills, while they're in high school is a great opportunity for them to show success, after they graduate.
Sure thing. Well, that is an awfully impressive start to the season. And again, we might need to knock on wood here in the studio, but we sure hope that continues to go well. And obviously, just a benefit to everybody, really, including the community, too, who gets to enjoy some good football, good volleyball, and just all around a good deal there. For you guys right now, in terms of what's kind of coming up, we're getting into the heart of this semester. You mentioned to me that parent-teacher conferences might be just around the corner or not too far off. When are those, and what can you tell me?
It's hard to believe we're already, I think, in week 7 of the school year. It just seems like it started the other day. But first quarter is going to be wrapping up here in the next couple weeks. So as we end first quarter of the grading period, or halfway through the semester, we'll have parent-teacher conferences. Those are scheduled right now for October 22nd and 23rd. So we encourage all of our parents to reach out to their respective child's school to make appointments to meet with all their teachers. We obviously want to have that open communication with our parents, letting them know how their students are doing, not only grade-wise, but participation and showing those skills that are, beneficial to them, not only throughout high school, but as they leave high school and go into, college or the workforce or even the military. We had a record number of students that graduated last year that went into the military. So that's great to see, and we love seeing those kiddos come back after their basic training and either stop in to say hi or attend one of our athletic events. And it's great talking to them to see what they've learned as a result of that.
Well, so many options, obviously, outside of high school or after high school. So never sell yourself short, or at least try and box yourself into one avenue or another. But I did not realize that you guys had a record number
Yeah.
graduate out and then had the military career path. I think that kind of speaks to what Nokomis is doing, probably overall as a school district, too.
Well, I think it has to do with a lot of things. I think it has to do with kids that, have, made that commitment, um, not only to better themselves, but to serve the country as a whole. Having that sense of pride in the United States, I think, it's not just for those that go into the military; it's for everyone. But having that sense of worth that they know that they can, go on and be something successful in that field, post secondary is important to them, and it's therefore important to us. So, it's something that we strive to make sure that we reach all kids, whether they're going into the military or a vocational program or 2 year or 4 year college, or straight into the workforce. I think is a path that we have to be always cognizant of, and support those kids that do that, which is kind of why, for about 6 or 7 years now, we do our college and career pathways, which is part of our Capturing Kids' Hearts program.
College and career pathways. Let's talk a little bit about not only that, but also the Capturing Kids' Hearts program. Fill me in a little bit here. We've talked about it before, but I didn't know that necessarily this kind of encompassed the both of them in terms of the Capturing Kids' Hearts program. What can you tell us on your end of things?
Yeah, it does. We start Capturing Kids' Hearts about 5 years ago. It's a multifaceted program that dealing with social emotional learning. It deals with good behavior. It deals with character education. It deals with college and career pathways. So we start these kiddos learning about empathy and perseverance and good character traits at the kindergarten level. We build that all the way up to high school. Once they get into the high school level, they kind of morph from a character education aspect of it to what we call an advocacy aspect. So, freshmen, sophomores, and juniors spend 30 minutes a day working on a variety of topics. One, it could be additional character education traits at a higher level. Obviously, when they get to high school, we look at those at a higher level of learning. But they also take a look at, what do I want to do after I graduate? What's my pathway? Why am I here in high school? And it helps them kind of map out what they want to do in high school, what kind of courses they want to take. Are they going vocational route? Are they going college route? Are they going workforce route? And they work with a teacher for 3 years in looking at that. And they really start to get an idea of what they want to do. Do we ever expect an 18-year-old to decide what they want to do for the rest of their lives? No, right? That's tough. There's some days that 30 and 40-year-olds don't know that answer yet.
Yeah.
But we want to help them to develop what that job is. If they want to go in and become a teacher, for instance, what kind of classes do you need in high school? What are the requirements to get into college? What's that look like after college? And we help them plan, and it culminates to their senior year into a class what we call a senior seminar, where they have selected, let's say, education, and they do really deep research into that. And as a result of several weeks of research, talking to people in the field, looking at pay and requirements and licensure and things like that, then they make a presentation to community members.
Seniors, excuse me, sorry.
Yep. No, it's called the senior seminar class. It's a class that all of our seniors take. They have to take it, and it really prepares them for, what happens the day after graduation. And, these community members we invite in, they come in, they listen to these presentations. They're about 10 or 15 minutes long, and they give them feedback. Hey, this is a great presentation. Did you think about this? Hey, look at this aspect of it too. So it really kind of opens their eyes to the world out there and what opportunities lie ahead for them. And we're actually starting to take this down to the elementary level now, where we're getting kids exposed to all kinds of careers and opportunities for them, and having them to start to think about what this looks like for them for the rest of their lives. As a career, or as college comes about, or as a pathway to be successful, and obviously a contributing part of society. So it's a great program. I think our kids do really, really well in it. But we also have a secondary factor to that, and that's community service.
Oh, that sounds like a great deal, Scott. I got to tell you. And to know that both of those two things have kind of been combined, but you mentioned 30 minutes. It sounds like it's instructor led, but it's almost counseling, it's almost mentoring, and it's getting you prepared for that next step. And we're doing so relatively early. Now we're trying to creep into the elementary level and doing so as well. There's a lot going on with this.
There really is. And our counselors do a great job at helping with that as well. Exposing kids to what an electrician does. Lord knows we need plumbers and electricians and HVAC people, as well as doctors and lawyers and teachers. But getting kids exposed to that at an early age really kind of gets them excited about then learning and what learning actually looks like, and how they can take what they've learned and take it to the next level to be successful.
Well, and their approach requires, it's different for every person, but to have that kind of one-on-one, or the opportunity for it, just makes it more personalized and does. It really gives you a thing to strive for. And I think sometimes that's what we lose in the public education system is, well, I'm just going to get my diploma. Well, everybody might get their diploma. So what am I going to do after that? And this to me sounds like we're trying to sort those things out. Well, Scott, let's take ourselves our first break of the show. I guess our lone break of the show. We're joined by Scott Dorr, Superintendent of Nokomis CUSD number 22. We're talking college and career pathways, capturing kids' hearts, and how that kind of ties together. A record number of military students last year. Don't let that be forgotten. Parent-teacher conferences coming up in mid-October, and fall athletics, and all the success that the Redskins are having over there. You're listening to WTIM, your information station. We'll be right back with more of the WTIM Pana Morning Show.
WTIM. Let's check the markets now on the RFD Radio Network. I'm Jim Taylor. Corn, beans, and Chicago wheat all lower at this hour. December corn down 2 3/4, 4.18 3/4. March corn down 3 1/4, 4.35 1/4. May corn 4.44 1/2, down 3 1/4. November beans down 4 1/2, 10.06. January beans down a nickel, 10.24 3/4. March beans 10.40 1/4, down 5 1/4. December wheat 5.16, down 3 1/2. March wheat down 3 1/2, 5.34 1/4. October bean meal 266.50, down $1.60. October bean oil 48.89, down 22 cents. Livestock market, October feeders 355.30, down 90 cents. October live cattle down to $1.10, 230.22. October lean hogs $100.77, down 37 cents. Energy market, November crude oil 62.58. down 87 cents. This is the RFD.
If you're like most people, finding extra money for your savings just doesn't happen. Hi, this is Sierra Spears at People's Bank and Trust, and we have the solution you've been looking for. Sign up for our Save by Spending Roundup program, and we'll round up your purchases to the next dollar, then transfer that change to your savings account. It's as easy as shop, enjoy, and save. Start saving for the things you really want with our Save by Spending Roundup program. Call 888-PBT-1954 and let us put you and your savings first. People's Bank and Trust, member FDIC, equal housing lender.
If you're 40 and over, you'll recognize these artists by their first names. Frank, Dean, Sammy, Andy, Nat, Diana, Michael. Well, here's the big news. You can now hear Central Illinois' largest music library with over 3,500 songs on air and online at 965thechill.com. Tune in on the FM dial in Christian County and on your computer or smartphone. Hear these great artists and many more 24 hours a day, 7 days a week on 965thechill.com.
Finding the right employees can be a real challenge these days, whether you're hiring full-time or part-time. That's where the regional radio stations come in. We're here to help you connect with the qualified candidates you need. Check out IllinoisJobPost.com. That's IllinoisJobPost.com. It's part of our comprehensive radio and internet employment campaign designed to get your job openings noticed. For details, just reach out to your account manager. Put the power of radio and the internet to work for you at IllinoisJobPost.com.
WTIM listeners from Witt to Shelbyville and Awanaco to Ramsey can now hear your information station even clearer at a new place on the FM dial. WTIM now has an additional dial position at 107.9, transmitting at some 280 feet from a tower on the south edge of Pana. Hear the latest local news and agriculture information, swap shop, and more in southern Christian, northern Fayette, and eastern Montgomery counties from WTIM. Even better now at 107.9 FM. Set a button on your radio for WTIM in the Pana area now at 107.9 FM.
WTIM. And we're back with the WTIM Pana Morning Show here on your information station. And it's brought to you by our title sponsor in People's Bank and Trust, along with Pana Save-A-Lot, Pizza Man, Noren's Hardware, Bob Riding's Pana, the Nokomis Dairy Queen Pana Bowl, and the Oconee Chop Shop. I'm your host, Grayson Bauman. Back around in this segment, we've got Scott Dorr, Superintendent of Nokomis CUSD number 22. Where we left off, we kind of want to pick up, but on a different note. We were talking college and career pathways mixed in with their Capturing Kids' Hearts program. And now we kind of want to talk about NOCO Strong. This is more of a peer mentoring program, but we're going to let Scott describe everything in between. Scott, what can you tell us?
You know, it's kind of interesting that you talk about that, because peer mentoring is even part of the whole Capturing Kids' Hearts program now, and we've embraced that as well. But I would say about maybe about 15 years ago, if you recall, you know, the state of Illinois was in some financial difficulty. There were several tragedies around the state involving kiddos at the high school or junior high level that were, you know, hurt or passed away, or, you know, some kind of tragedy that took place. And with everything that happened in that time frame, you know, school districts started to look and think differently about who they were and what they did. But they also came together to support each other. You know, we all have these great, you know, athletic rivalries between each other, and those are awesome to have. But at the same time, you have to understand that, you know, all these kids together, if you put the millions of kids that are in school in the state of Illinois together, they have something in common, right? And so we kind of morphed as a state and as a nation to come together to support kiddos. And as a result of that, we came up with the hashtag NOCO Proud, just to symbolize to not only our students and our staff, but our community and throughout the entire state of Illinois that we were proud of our kids, we were proud of our school, we were proud of our community, and that we were going to be there to support other kids throughout the state of Illinois.
I got to tell you, I think it's kind of crazy that 15 years ago we were talking hashtags but that's, you know, time has flown by, and for NOCO in this for Nokomis, and then this peer mentoring, and then you kind of encapsulate it all with Capturing Kids' Hearts. I mean, there's so much good going on, and I'm really glad that we got an extra moment today to dive into some of those things that we kind of touched on a surface level, but didn't really get to find out the nitty gritty on. And so I appreciate that today, Scott.
Yeah, well, we love talking about it, and I think the programs and the options and the curricular support, and the nearly 55 potential classes kids have to take to not only Nokomis but our SCI Center as dual credit options, in both upper level content classes, but also in vocational programming. That's what we're here for. We're here for the kids, and I think sometimes we lose insight. We lose sight of that, but we have to be here to support our students and make them the best they can be.
Well, Scott, I think we're doing everything that we can to do so, and thank you so much for joining us here today.
Thank you. Have a great day.
You got it, sir. Scott Dorr, Superintendent of Nokomis CUSD number 22, here on your information station. Our morning show brought to you by People's Bank and Trust. Scott, you make it too easy on me, sir.
We'll try. We try.
Well, next month, if you plan to bring a